You sit on your couch. Your pet dog sleeps. The soft fur beneath your fingers belongs to a creature whose ancestors once hunted yours in the cold, dangerous wilderness of the ancient world. How did a killer become a companion? You might assume your ancestors simply tamed them through centuries of deliberate training, but the real answer is far stranger. Your ancestors did not just domesticate the wolf. Your ancestors domesticated themselves. Look closely at your own body. Your bones are remarkably light. When you compare the modern human skeleton to that of a Neanderthal, the heavy-set, robust human cousin who went extinct 40,000 years ago, the differences are staggering. Why are you so delicate? Your ancestors possessed thick skulls, massive jaws, and heavy brow ridges designed to withstand intense physical conflict. Today, your face is flat, your teeth are small, your skull is round and smooth, housing a brain that is actually smaller than the brain of a Neanderthal. This suite of physical changes is not an accident of history. It is the unmistakable signature of domestication. Biologists call this the domestication syndrome. This term describes the collection of physical and behavioral traits that consistently appear when a wild animal species is bred for tameness. Think of pigs, sheep, or horses. Why do they all share floppy ears, shorter muzzles, lighter coats, and smaller brains compared to their wild ancestors? For decades, this evolutionary mystery remained unsolved. Scientists did not understand why selecting for a friendly personality would automatically alter an animal's physical appearance. In 1959, a Soviet geneticist named Dmitry Belyaev set out to find the answer in the freezing plains of Siberia. He gathered wild silver foxes. He placed them in cages. His experimental design was incredibly simple. He approached the cages and offered his hand. Most of the foxes snarled, bit, or hid in terror, but a tiny percentage remained calm. What would happen if he only bred these calm foxes? Within just a few generations, the foxes began to transform. They did not just become friendly. Their ears became floppy. Their tails began to wag when they saw a human. Their dark coats developed patches of white fur. They began to whine and bark like domestic puppies. This experiment proved that tameness and physical appearance are genetically linked. The key lies in a tiny group of embryonic cells called the neural crest. These are the stem cells in an early embryo that travel throughout the body to form both the skull bones of the face and the adrenal glands, which produce adrenaline, the hormone of fear and aggression. When your ancestors selected for tameness, they were unconsciously selecting for animals with underactive neural crest cells. Fewer neural crest cells meant smaller adrenal glands and less fear, but it also meant weaker cartilage, leading to floppy ears. It meant less pigment, leading to white spots. It meant shorter, flatter muzzles. Could the same biological process explain why your own face looks so different from a wild hominin? The answer is written in your bone structure. Look at your eyebrows. A Neanderthal possessed a massive bony shelf above their eyes that acted as a permanent billboard of dominance. It was a signal of high testosterone. Why did this shelf disappear in your ancestors? As the human lifestyle shifted toward cooperation, high testosterone became a liability. A flat forehead allowed for highly mobile, expressive eyebrows. Your ancestors could suddenly signal subtle emotions across a distance. They could show sympathy, confusion, or agreement without making a sound. This silent communication built trust. Now look at your eyes in a mirror. You will see a large white area surrounding your colored iris. This is the sclera, the outer white coat of the eyeball. Why is yours so bright and visible? Humans are the only primates with highly visible white sclera. A chimpanzee has dark eyes to conceal where it is looking. In a competitive world, hiding your gaze prevents others from stealing your food or anticipating your movements. But in a cooperative world, sharing your gaze is a superpower. Your white eyes tell everyone exactly what you are focusing on. It allows for joint attention, where two individuals can look at the same object and coordinate their actions. Your eyes are a physical badge of absolute trust. But who did the domesticating? For dogs, humans were the domesticators. For humans, there was no higher power to select for friendliness. This puzzle was addressed by Richard Wrangham, an evolutionary anthropologist at Harvard University. He proposed a groundbreaking theory known as the capital punishment hypothesis. This is the theory that early humans systematically executed the most violent and aggressive members of their own groups to maintain social peace. Imagine a group of your ancestors living in the Pleistocene, the ancient ice age that ended 10,000 years ago. Survival was incredibly difficult. Cooperation was mandatory. If a single, hyper-aggressive male decided to bully the tribe, take all the food, and kill anyone who disagreed, the entire group was threatened. In a chimpanzee society, such a bully cannot be stopped easily because chimpanzees cannot coordinate a silent plan. They can only fight back with raw physical strength. How did early humans solve this problem? They used language. Once your ancestors developed complex language, the weak could whisper in the shadows. They could share information. They could form conspiracies. Several lower-ranking individuals could agree to work together to eliminate the tyrant. They would ambush the bully in his sleep, or execute him from a distance with weapons. Over tens of thousands of years, this systematic weeding out of hyper-aggressive individuals changed the human gene pool. The bullies were executed before they could pass on their genes. The cooperative, gentle, and quiet individuals survived to reproduce. Your ancestors literally executed the wilderness out of themselves. This process of self-domestication is not unique to humans. It happens in nature. Brian Hare, an evolutionary anthropologist at Duke University, has documented this exact phenomenon in bonobos. Bonobos are the peaceful, female-led cousins of chimpanzees. They share nearly all of your DNA, yet their behavior is entirely different from the violent, male-dominated chimpanzee societies. Why did bonobos become so gentle? Millions of years ago, the ancestors of bonobos found themselves in an environment south of the Congo River with abundant food. They did not have to compete with gorillas or other aggressive primates for resources. In this peaceful environment, females banded together to punish aggressive males. The friendliest males got to mate, while the bullies were ignored and left to starve. Over generations, the bonobos domesticated themselves. Their faces became shorter. Their canine teeth shrank. Their brains rewired themselves for play and empathy rather than dominance. Brian Hare argues that this social tolerance is the true secret of human intelligence. You are not smart because you have a giant brain. You are smart because you can put your brains together. Two moderately intelligent, cooperative humans will always outperform a single, isolated genius. Social tolerance allowed your ancestors to share technology, pass down complex cultures, and build civilizations. Is there actual proof of this in your DNA? The genetic evidence is compelling. Cedric Bex, a linguist and cognitive scientist, has mapped the genetic signatures of human self-domestication. He compared the genomes of modern humans with those of Neanderthals and Denisovans, another extinct ancient human relative. He discovered a specific set of genes that have undergone rapid natural selection in modern humans. Many of these genes are responsible for regulating the neural crest cells during embryonic development. One gene in particular, known as BAZ1B, acts as a master controller for facial development. In modern humans, this gene is tuned down compared to your ancient cousins. This is why your face is small and delicate. But there is a fascinating twist to this genetic story. What happens when these genes are completely altered? In modern humans, a deletion of these same genes causes a condition called Williams-Buren syndrome. This is a rare genetic condition characterized by a highly expressive face, a small nose, and an incredibly friendly, trusting personality. People with this syndrome have no fear of strangers. They possess an intense desire to socialize and love. It is as if they represent the absolute peak of human domestication. Your entire species carries a mild, evolutionary version of this genetic tuning. Your DNA was literally rewired to make you love. But this beautiful story has a dark side. Domestication does not mean the complete elimination of violence. In fact, it creates a very specific, highly dangerous kind of violence. Think of your pet dog again. It is sweet, gentle, and loving with your family. But what happens when an intruder approaches your home? The dog snarls, barks, and prepares to attack. This is the paradox of domestication. The same biology that makes you cooperative with your group makes you hostile to outsiders. Anthropologists divide aggression into two distinct categories. The first is reactive aggression, the hot-headed, sudden anger that flares up when you feel threatened. Your self-domestication has dramatically lowered this type of aggression. The second is proactive aggression, the cold, calculated, planned violence used to achieve a specific goal. Ironically, self-domestication has actually increased your capacity for proactive aggression. Because you can cooperate so perfectly, you can organize massive armies. You can plan genocides. You can build weapons of mass destruction. The same loyalty that allows you to care for your neighbors allows you to dehumanize those outside your circle. This is driven by oxytocin, the hormone of bonding, love, and maternal care. When oxytocin floods your brain, it does not make you love everyone equally. It makes you love your tribe, and it makes you deeply suspicious of anyone who threatens it. Why does this ancient division still shape your world today? You see it in politics, sports, and international conflicts. You are a gentle, domesticated ape, capable of supreme kindness to your pack, but capable of chilling cruelty to those you deem outsiders. Now, look back at your sleeping dog. You see a reflection of your own evolutionary journey. Both of your species traded raw, wild independence for the safety of the group. You both softened your faces, shrank your jaws, and rewired your brains to live in peace with one another. Every time you smile at a neighbor, every time you feel a pang of empathy for a stranger, you are experiencing the biological legacy of your self-domesticated ancestors. You are the product of a thousands of years old experiment in cooperation. Your ancestors chose to put down their weapons and trust one another. But that wild, protective spark still sleeps within you. As you run your fingers through your dog's soft fur, you are not just looking at a tamed beast. You are looking into a mirror.